Our selection process consisted of 3 rounds. The first round was the written test. The written test had 3 sections: data interpretation, English and general aptitude. Then it was followed by a group discussion round in which our topic was, should social media be used as a, should social networking sites be used as a media tool. Then we had 2 interviews. One was a general aptitude interview and the second one was a personal interview, and both interviews had a panel of just one person. In the first interview, the first question that they asked me was that on Sunday, how many times of Indian newspapers will be sold around Jaipur. So on Sundays, all the offices are closed, so no newspapers will go to the offices, and all the newspapers will go to the middle class people or the upper middle class people or the upper class, which generally read English newspapers. And even in hostels, especially there are around 40 engineering colleges in Jaipur, and all of them have around 200 to 300 students who are staying there as hostelers or more. So that's how I made my calculations on how many people will read the newspapers in Jaipur. Then the second question that they asked me was that if there is a old establishment which is failing in its business and you as a young guy are sent there to turn it around, and all the people there working are old and many more years experience than you are, then what would you do? So my answers were that first I will like to gain the respect of the people there and try to find out which are the basic problems which is making this establishment not workable, and I will not judge anyone by their first impression, because if they are skeptical about how I am working, then that couldn't be right, because they have been working for many more years. And you have to start with the small problems first, and you have to take every problem one by one, and that's how I would like to proceed. Okay, the other question that they asked me was that if there is a rectangular cake and I cut one slice from it, and then they tell me to divide it by 2, then what would I do? So my answer was that instead of dividing it from the top, we divide it from the middle, and that is how we solve the problem. And another question that they asked me was that even though private institutions have better infrastructure and better labs and everything compared to government institutions, why are placements better here? So my answer was that the government institutions have been running for many more years. The faculty is more experienced and they know exactly what the industry needs, and that's why what we are taught here is much better than what it is taught in the private institutes, and that's why more companies would like to hire from government institutions than from private institutes. Another interesting question that they asked me was that why are you joining MUSIGMA even though you're a computer engineer and you're doing engineering for the past 4 years? So I told them that even though that we have been doing engineering, we should never limit our opportunities and we should actually do what we're interested to do. And as I was not too interested in working for a core company, I would rather work for a consulting firm. That's why I would be joining MUSIGMA. And another question was that should we join as engineers, should we join startups or should we join big companies? And what are the pros and cons of joining a startup? So the pros that I said about a startup was that in startups you get more opportunities to work and you get more responsibility at a shorter time span, and that's why you can test your abilities a lot better. And the advantage of working in a big company is that in big companies the pay structure is better, and there is more job security and everything in big companies compared to startups. Then in the HR round, the first question they asked me was about the general introduction about myself and about my family background. And they asked me one bad quality about myself, and I said that as college students we tend to procrastinate a lot and we take everything till the last day, and that is something that will not work in companies and we should change that. And they asked me that because your bad quality is procrastination, then how would you overcome it? So in MUSIGMA, so I said that in MUSIGMA I would, whatever task I get, I would tend to break it up into many parts and set short-term goals for myself and start by accomplishing these short-term goals, and eventually the entire task would be completed. Instead of that, if I take it as one big task, then I'll keep getting worked about it and I'll not be able to successfully complete it. And the other question that they asked me was which is better, grades or personality, and they were adamant that I choose one. So I chose personality because even though if you have good grades, that is obviously because you're very hardworking and you're dedicated. But even if you're hardworking and dedicated and you don't have the personality to show the world that you're hardworking and dedicated, then it is of no use. So having a good personality is far more better than having better grades. they asked me why I want to join Mu Sigma. So obviously I told them first that the work that the company is doing of data analysis, that is very interesting to me. And the another thing that I really liked about was their approach. All of them came in jeans and casual t-shirts, and even in the presentation they did not have a pre-planned presentation. They just wrote down a set of questions which students would like to ask them, and they answered that one by one. So the approach was very new and different. And another thing that they asked me was that everyone is wearing formals here. Why so? Does that make a difference? So my answer to that was that it obviously when we wear formals we look much more presentable than we look normally. And another thing is that because everyone is wearing white shirts and black pants, then there is equality. They cannot judge us by the color of the shirt we are wearing or the quality of the shirt we are wearing. They asked me two questions, which were that will you be okay if we send you outside India? To that I answered that I'll be completely okay because all my family is living outside and I have also spent my entire childhood outside. And then they asked me that how are tourists there, Indian tourists act outside India. So I told them that Indian tourists, they are very friendly but they have a tough time adapting, and they tend to save a lot more money than the other tourists would spend. And they asked me that is that a good quality about Indians or a bad quality? Then I told them that I have seen it from my own family that it's a very good quality, because when there are problems or anything, the Indian people already have enough savings to overcome that. And people outside India, and so especially in Europe and America, they don't tend to save up that much, and when the financial crisis happened, they weren't able to overcome it with ease. Then they asked me that would I want an 8 to 5 job, would I prefer that? Then I told them that no, and flexible working times would be okay. Then they asked me, have you heard any negative things about Mu Sigma? So I told them that the pay structure compared to other competitors in the market is not that good, and that they make us work a lot and the working times are far greater, and they even call us on weekends. And another question they asked me was that if I would like to ask any questions. So I just asked them that do they have any bond or anything, do they make us sign any bond? And their answer was no. Some tips that I would like to give you people is that highlight your good character traits of your personality. Don't try to be someone else, don't try to fake your personality. And especially in group discussion rounds, don't be too aggressive. It's a group discussion, so discuss in a group and they actually see what are your points and how you work in a group. And for the written test, if there are 3 sections or 4 sections, do the sections which you're confident about and which you know you can get the most number of correct answers.